Okay, yeah, this is KP4MD. I guess our live stream is back, and I figured out what happened with the audio. OBS Studio, for some reason, uh, switched out its audio sources to the computer mic and speaker instead of going through the signal link as it was supposed to, and I had to go in there and reselect those audio sources. Oh, now we have audio, and I apologize sincerely for to people that are watching here on YouTube. But I got a picture there. It looks like some kind of a box, some kind of a utility box, maybe one of those Pelican cases or something. And looking with one eye, that's kind of halfway good still. Looks like there's a Baofeng type radio inside there with a jumper cable, thin coaxial cable wrapping around a bit and going inside the box. Uh, I think inside the box there's a something like a DC power distribution outlets there, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because it looks like they have the power pole connectors on them, that they're red and black. Um, in the upper left hand corner inside the box, I don't know if that's a communication speaker. And below that, there is something that I could barely read, RYOBI, like Ryobi, which is, I think, a kind of a tool company, if I'm not mistaken. There's something green behind the radio. I'm not sure what that is. And then I could see what looks like a little flexible whip antenna sticking up out of the right side of the box. And I really can't tell you much about the detail of the picture because my vision is still very, very foggy. So, Joseph, maybe you can describe that further and explain what we're seeing. Over.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a prototype Fox, or a beacon for amateur radio direction finding, based off a Frankenstein Baofeng radio, powered by a Ryobi battery.
Okay, so you got a Ryobi battery, like the kind of battery used for tools, and that's powering the radio, and you have the little the DC distribution box. And is that a speaker up in the upper left-hand corner? Is there anything else inside that box that I've missed? Over.
I think you pretty much gathered everything that is visible. One thing that's not visible in this particular picture is that there is a computer strapped to the back of the Baofeng radio that does all sorts of radio transmission, DTFF decoding, and whatnot for controlling the beacon.
Oh, okay. So you have a computer in there that's controlling a beacon. So there's a beacon in there. What mode is that beacon transmitting? Is that Morse code or some other digital mode?
It is transmitting just FM on VHF, because it's built for ARDF, Amateur Radio Direction Finding. So it transmits on the national simplex frequency for ARDF, which I cannot recall what it is off the top of my head right now. But the Baofeng is tuned to that, and then the little PCB on the back just tells the Baofeng when to transmit. And it keys up the mic and plays the ARDF tones as well as a CW station identification.
Okay, ARDF, that's amateur radio direction finding. So is this something used for fox hunting, like a fox hunting transmitter? Over.
That's exactly correct. This would be the fox that you would try to hunt.
Oh, okay. I'm curious, what kind of computer do you have there? Is that something like a single board computer, like what do they call a Raspberry Pi? And do you have it sending out voice messages for the direction finding?
Yeah, it's a single board microcontroller, so it's not even a full operating system, but it's configurable, and I can give it a call sign, and it plays some audio tones, and it plays the amateur radio station and its ID, and I give it some config, like how often to play. So this one particular is programmed right now. It plays 20 seconds every minute. So once every minute, you have 20 seconds to hone in on the location of the fox and try to find it.
Oh, okay. That's a microcontroller, something like an Arduino. I actually have an Arduino program to send out Morse code identification on a surplus transmitter, which this surplus transmitter is from the 1970s. It's called a Sonoboy. I don't know if you ever heard of those. Those were FM transmitters on printed circuit boards that were dropped by the military. Uh, they operated on FM around 160 megahertz range, and they had these underwater microphones to detect the presence of submarines. And these would float on the top of the ocean waves, and the airplanes that were flying over would listen to underwater sounds that were transmitted by these sonobuoys. A number of these were available on the surplus market back in the 70s. They were all discrete transistor units. That was, I guess, before large-scale integration came around. That was popular or available. And so I picked up one of these boards back in the 70s, and I had it for the longest time. It was crystal controlled, reactance modulated across the crystal to get frequency modulation. And I actually used it. This was my first FM transmitter when I first operated on repeaters back on the 70s. So I had it in my box here for the longest time, and repurposed it as a Fox transmitter a few years ago, and our club's been using it. So that's really nice. I really dig that. Alf, you commented that he sees the Ryobi battery in there, and Alf is with us on the YouTube channel, and I'm glad to see it's working again. Any other comments on this, Joseph? KK6LOL, this is KP4MD.
I don't think so. I think you pretty much nailed the basic description. The cool thing is, because this runs off a Ryobi battery, this can be left out over an entire weekend, or it actually lasts about a week on a large 4 amp hour battery.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yours definitely would last a lot longer than mine, because mine just has a 8-pack of alkaline AA cells. So you have a lot more capacity in there. Very well. There was a little bit of interference, as you can see on the YouTube picture if you're tuned in there, and that was unfortunately caused by me. I made a little sound, and my microphone was still connected. It triggered the Vox, so it just caused a little bit of interference on your picture, but the rest of it is nice and clear. I don't know if there are many pixel pops. I don't see any hardly. But again, that's because I'm transmitting it out. I wouldn't see them anyway. Okay, I'm going to stand by. Are there any other people who have checked in who would like to check into our slow scan net tonight? It's KP from.
Good evening, November 6 kilowatt Echo November.
Hi Ken, nice to hear you. Did you copy this picture and did you have any comments on it? Over.
Negative, Carol. I just turned on the radio and realized the net was going on.
Okay, well, anyway, thank you for joining us here. And would you have any pictures that you would like to send Ken over?
Yeah, I'm looking for one right now. Is it going to be my turn, or do I have a few minutes?
Okay, yeah, if you're looking for a picture, I'll go ahead and send a picture and give you a chance to look for another one there. Okay, I'll be sending this picture, also PD120. This is KP4MT. Okay, we're going over to Joseph, KK6LOL. This is KP4MD. How did you copy this? Over.
I have a good copy. I have a little bit of float or skew from one side to the other, but that could be my settings in the decode. But I have a good copy. I can see the side-by-side picture of what looks to be some sort of soldier standing outside of a building and standing inside of a field outside of the building. I don't have any context on what conflict this could be or who this might be.
Okay, thank you very much for that description, Joseph. And Ken, N6KEN, how did you copy this? Over.
Unfortunately, my setup, the MMS SSTV, was not connected to the right input, so I didn't get any copy, but it's working now, so although I don't know how many people are on the net, but I'll be ready for the next one.
Okay, yeah, Ken, it's just you, me, and Joseph on the repeater, and we have Alf KN6 Papa Romeo Delta on the YouTube chat, and we also have WP2N Craig. So yeah, I'm going to explain what this picture is. This is actually pictures of my dad. And he was 18 years old at the time. and he was in boot camp at Fort McClellan, Alabama, 1944, getting ready to go to Europe. He was in the Battle of the Bulge, and he's still alive. He's 96 years old, a veteran of World War II. So that's the story. And this is, I guess, I don't know if this is normally, should have been a regular full black and white picture, and with age it kind of gets that sepia tone to it. I don't know if that was original or not, but this is a scan of these pictures that we have of him when he was 18 years old. He was at the Battle of the Bulge. He did not enter with D-Day, but he came in the wave after D-Day, and he was at Bastogne, Belgium, on the day of the start of the Battle of the Bulge, which was December 16, 1944, which was his birthday, and he had just turned 19, and he was right on the front lines where the Germans drove through the Ardennes forest, and he earned a Purple Heart during that day. So thankfully, he's still alive. Any further comments on this? This is KP4MD. Okay, nothing heard. We'll see. Ken, are you ready to send any pictures? We're ready to copy. Over.
Negative. I think tonight's a bust for me, but appreciate keeping me in the rounds to go next. N6KEN.
Okay, Alf makes a comment that he likes the vintage pictures. Very good. Well, let's see if there are any other pictures. I don't have any additional pictures to send, and we'll see if Joseph has maybe another one to send. KK6LOL, this is KP4MD.
I do have one more picture if you'd like to look at that circuit board on the back of the Baofeng.
Okay, very good. I'm standing by, and we're ready to receive your picture. Okay, this is KP4MD. From what I can see, this picture came over pretty well on my end, and I see a number of different colored pixels pops throughout the picture, but it's mostly good and clear, and I'm guessing this is the microprocessor, no, the microcontroller that you have attached to the back of the Baofeng. It looks like you have some wires. Um, See, there's what looks like a microphone uh, connector plugged into the side of the Baofeng, and that wire from that is soldered to some of the pins on this little microcontroller board, and it's kind of fuzzy there, possibly hot glued or something to keep the wires in place. And then there's another wire coming off from the left side of that board going off of the screen. And below the green board, it looks like there's the word Baofeng. And then below that, I got to strain really hard, exclusively for something on eBay and Amazon. Maybe somebody else can read that, but my vision is really poor. I can't make out the rest of that. Ken, N6KEN, did you copy that picture? Over? Okay, I think Ken dropped out for some reason. How about Joseph? Why don't you explain better what this picture is? Yeah, I didn't mention. It looks like there's an SMA connector up in the upper right-hand corner of that radio, a long one, and then to the left of it, there's some kind of a knob there. I'm not very familiar with the Baofeng radios. So back to you, KK6LOL, KP from D.
Yeah, you did a pretty darn good job describing exactly what's in this photo. This is that microcontroller that controls the fox for the fox hunting beacon. This has a connector that is a standard Kenwood connector that tells the radio to key up the transmitter and then plays the audio over it. And then the other wire that you identified as going off the screen, that's just the power. It runs off of a standard 12-volt power supply. So I give it 12-volt power from that Ryobi battery. And then I connect it into just an SMA connector into the Fox and the antenna. So it outputs about 5 watts. And yeah, the text actually says, I didn't catch that until you started reading it off to me. The text actually says, exclusive for online sales at eBay and Amazon marketplaces. You can tell that I just picked this one up of Amazon. One of my hobbies is to do really cool amateur radio projects with as cheap a radios as possible. And the Baofeng UV5R coming in at around $25 is really hard to beat in terms of cost effectiveness. Just to show other hands that ham radio doesn't have to be super expensive with $5,000 radios.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for this demonstration of what you can do with a $25 Baofeng radio. Very, very impressive. Of course, the Baofeng, I guess, would make a pretty good transmitter. Receiver-wise, it's a little bit, how do you say, it doesn't have very much front-end selectivity, and it is prone to overload from out-of-band signals. We're aware of that. But for this purpose, it should be okay, I suppose. Some of the early Baofengs had were notorious for having spurious emissions outside of the band that were not in compliance with FCC requirements, and they were They were reviewed in one of the QST magazines by ARRL, and it was stated that it's possible that some of those older radios could have caused interference to public service frequencies and other services outside the ham bands. But from what I understand, I think they've cleared that up maybe a little bit. And Alf says on YouTube, I second a statement on $25 radios. We don't need high-end 5K dollar radios to get on the air. So thank you very much on that. And we'll see if Ken is back. N6KEN. So are you back, Ken? This is KP for MD.
Yeah, Roger. N6KEN. Sorry, for whatever reason, if I don't do SSTV in a while, and I start using other modes with the signal link here, the settings, I forget. I always have to change them for doing like packet or other modes, and so my controls were a little off, so I couldn't receive anything, and it wasn't sending. And I switched channels to do some testing, so I didn't test over you guys. And you must have passed it over to me right when I was on the other frequency.
Okay, now not a problem. That's probably what happened. Well, if there are no other comments on this picture of Joseph's Baofeng modified radio as a Fox transmitter, maybe you're ready to send now, Ken. Over.
Yeah, it'll work, but I don't have a picture. The picture I downloaded doesn't fit in the aspect ratio, so I'd have to modify it and spend some time to get ready to send it. So I'll join next week. Appreciate you including me tonight, though.
Okay, very good. I do want to apologize for not participating in last week's Slow Scan Net, as I was recuperating. I still am recuperating from my cataract surgery, so I'm not very helpful with detailed vision here on the pictures. But I did my part in sending a picture and trying to keep this thing going. So okay, nothing further here from my side, and we're getting pretty close up to 10 p.m. So I'll put one further call out. Anybody else would like to join us before we close the net?
Actually, I just got it to, I think, fit, so I can send this one if you don't mind.
Okay, yeah, please go ahead, Ken.
Never mind. I went from PD120 to PD90, and then it changed the aspect ratio. So I'm just going to give up.
Okay, of course, this just emphasizes the need to probably have your pictures ready for transmission before the net starts. It makes things go a lot smoother. Although if you're using SSTV, it does resize pictures on the fly to fit within the window. Sometimes if you do if you let it stretch, it may cause a little distortion, either horizontally or vertically. But still, you can get a usable picture. Thank you very much for trying to join us here, Ken. So. Okay, Alf says his phone died and he switched over to the Mac computer. Thank you very much for watching along on the YouTube feed there, Alf. And again, I want to thank you, Ken and Joseph, for joining us tonight on the Slow Scan TV Net. For those who are out there on YouTube, thank you also for your patience And I'm sorry for the technical difficulty that cut off the first few minutes of this net while we were trying to stream it. Okay, so this is Kilo Papa for Mike Delta, Carol in Citrus Heights, California, and we are going to be closing the River City Arcs Slow Scan TV Net. We meet here every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Pacific time on the 441.30 megahertz FM repeater and live streamed on the River City Amateur Radio Communication Society YouTube channel. So 7-3 to all, and have a wonderful week. This is KP4MT Clear.